students, all matter is made up of atoms. Like everything is made up of atoms. The tree, the whiteboard, me, you, all are matter, and the matter is made up of atoms. And this is what we discussed in the last video. So does it mean, students, all matter, is it made up of like independent atoms? You already have the clarity between atom and element. In the previous video, clearly we discussed about that difference. All the matter, it is not made up of independent atoms, but these atoms are combined and they form a new substance, students, and that combination is called as molecules. So what is the problem with the definition here about the molecule? You know, the molecule definition will be like this. When two atoms are combined is called as a molecule. When two or more atoms are combined is called as a molecule. This is the type of definitions you can find in the textbooks. But the problem is, students, for example, these markers, they are matter, they are made up of atoms. Yes or no? If I combine, does it form a molecule? The answer is no. So you have to be very specific that when two or more atoms which are combined chemically is called as molecule. What does it mean by chemically? Chemically means, friends, they will develop chemical bonds between the atoms, and these chemical bonds are based on the number of electrons. Electrons are the particles which participate in the chemical reactions, whether by losing electrons, by gaining electrons, or by sharing electrons. Ultimately, a molecule formation takes place when two or more atoms combine chemically. What is the meaning of chemically, students? Chemically means when an atom loses electrons or gains electrons or shares electrons, it forms a chemical bond. Understood? And next time when you define a molecule, you have to define chemically. Physical, like for example, take water and add salt. Salt is combined with water, mixed with water. Is it form a new molecule? No. Yes or no? So that's why that is physical combination. Or when you take stainless steel, it contains iron particles, it contains carbon, chromium. Is it a new molecule? No. Simply there is no bond between them. They combine physically only. So when it forms a molecule, when atoms combine chemically. So all matter is chemical combination between the atoms only. Then why we have defined atom as a smallest unit? Yes, a molecule is ultimately made up of what? Atoms only, na students? Yes or no? Ultimately a molecule is made up of atoms only. But does it mean like they exist like independently? No. They do not exist independently. These atoms combine chemically and they form molecule. For example, students, look at here. This is hydrogen atom and this is hydrogen atom. If I am saying hydrogen atom is there, then like is that free only single hydrogen atom? Does it exist? No. Why? Because these atoms are all reactive, students, and they react with their valency. Every atom has its own combining capacity. It's called as valency. So all these atoms exist in molecular forms only. What is molecule? When two or more atoms, who decides that two or more? The valency of the element, the valency of the particular atom decides. Hydrogen. So what is hydrogen in the nature? Hydrogen gas, which is H2. That means two hydrogen atoms which are chemically combined. Yes, sir, you can see here these two electrons are combined or not. Of course, this is sharing. We'll discuss about sharing, losing, gaining in the higher videos. So students, here these two atoms are combined and they form a molecule called as hydrogen gas, H2. And how to write the formula? Like this, H2. Got the clarity? So independent hydrogen atom, do they exist in the nature? No. Always exist in the combined form only. And these combinations are fixed. It depends upon the combining capacity of that element. And which subatomic particle is participating in these reactions? Electrons, whether by losing, by gaining or sharing. That change is called as chemical change. Now, there is a discussion, there is a doubt about a molecule and compound, students, that we'll discuss in this video. Students, molecules are two types based on their combinations of particular element. So one is called as molecule of element and second one is called as molecule of compound. By this, you can see clearly compound is a classification under molecule or not. Now, see what is the difference here. Here, I said clearly what is molecule? When two or more atoms combine chemically. Yes or no? Now, you already know different elements are there. These atoms belong to different elements. If same elements are combined, combined how chemically? When same elements are combined, that combination is called as molecule of element. If different elements are combined, that is called as molecule of compound. For example, hydrogen gas we discussed in the previous example. What is the formula of hydrogen gas, students? Hydrogen gas is H2. Okay. Oxygen gas, what's the formula? O2. Nitrogen gas, what's the formula? N2. In all these three examples, students, look at hydrogen gas. These subscript numbers indicates number of atoms. So how many types of elements are there here? Only one type. Only hydrogen element, yes or no? Of course, two atoms are there. These two atoms belong to the hydrogen element. Here, O2. Like how many atoms? Two atoms. Belong to any different element? No. Oxygen element only. N2, two atoms. Belong to nitrogen element only. Or O3, ozone. Three atoms are there. Belong to oxygen element only. Now students, in all these molecules, these are molecules, yes or no? Why? Because they combine. These molecules are a combination of same element. Understood? Then they are called as molecule of element. You already know the definition of molecule of compound. So can you give the example of molecule of compound? H2O. H2O is a molecule of compound. So why it is a molecule of compound? First of all, it's a molecule. Is it a single element? No. Is it a single atom? No. Why? Because here some hydrogen atoms and oxygen is combined. How many hydrogen atoms are there? 2. How many oxygens are there? 1. These 3 atoms are combined or not? That's why we are writing it together. And here, are they same elements or different elements? All these atoms are same or different? Different. 2 atoms belong to hydrogen element. 1 atom belong to oxygen element. Yes or no? This different combination is called as compound. That's it. Ultimately, a compound is a molecule. But all molecules are compounds? No. Got the clarity, students? So, a compound is made up of different elements. Like carbon dioxide, which is CO2. It is made up of carbon element, oxygen element. Sulfuric acid, it's a compound. Hydrogen, sulfur and oxygen. So let us find the number of atoms and elements in the molecules. So students, I'll give few examples. You identify which is molecule of element and which is molecule of compound, as well as identify the number of atoms and number of elements also. For example, CO2, carbon dioxide. Is it molecule of element or molecule of compound? It's a molecule of compound. Different elements are combined, yes or no? Now, identify the number of atoms and number of elements here. The answer is, there are total 3 atoms are there. You can count carbon and 2 oxygens, yes or no? But how many elements are there? 2 elements only, students. There are, first of all, identify the elements. What is the element here? Element carbon, element oxygen. Carbon and oxygen. How many carbon atoms are there? Only 1. How many oxygens are there? 2. There are total 3 atoms belong to 2 elements. In these 3 atoms, there are 2 atoms belong to oxygen, 1 atom belong to carbon. Next example, sulfuric acid, which is H2SO4. Is it a molecule of element or compound? It's a molecule of compound, students. So identify the element. H. You already know elements, right? Hydrogen, sulfur, oxygen. Total how many elements are there? 3 elements are there. And these 3 elements belongs to how many atoms? See, how many hydrogen atoms are there? 2. How many sulfurs are there? In general, we don't represent 1 in the formula. So we have a separate discussion about chemical formula in the next video, students. So sulfur is 1. And how many oxygens are there? 4. Total how many atoms? 2 plus 1 plus 4. Total 7 atoms belong to how many elements? 3 elements. In these 7 atoms, 2 belong to hydrogen, 1 belong to sulfur, 4 belong to oxygen. So sulfuric acid is made up of 7 atoms, and these 7 atoms belong to the 3 elements. So students, I hope you got the clarity between molecule and compound difference. So that's all for today in this video. Thank you.